Hello, viewer number 333. What you're about to see is a presentation of differing perspectives. Whenever possible, notice this is a construction of systematic design. You're watching Perception Culture.
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that.
Let's imagine a moment, a heartbeat, a fraction of a second where the world's mask slips, where some unnameable, unknown, unspoken feeling gently wakes within your conscience, so faintly that you give it no more attention than would be customary for a passing curiosity. Suppose this instance recurs, less fleetingly than at first, but as you turn to take a more intimate inspection, something arises to obscure the secret's passing. This is Truman Burbank. As a child, Truman sparked an interest in exploration and traveling, but this was quickly cut short when he and his father got stuck in a storm while at sea and he witnessed his father drowning. Terrified of open water, Truman has remained in his hometown Seahaven Island, got married to his high school girlfriend Meryl and became an insurance executive. One day on his way to work, Truman sees a spotlight falling from the sky and crashing in front of him. Another time a radio show host starts narrating his every move while he's driving. How peculiar, he thinks to himself as his wife describes everyday objects as if she's presenting them for product placement. All of this leaves Truman with the eerie feeling that things aren't quite as they appear. The world Truman inhabits seems to actively uphold values related to conservative heterosexual nuclear families. Predictability is key when you have mortgage payments. It's a fine idea to go traveling, but first you have to plan for months, at least. But don't be too disappointed when something arises to change your course of action, dashing all your hopes and dreams. This happened to Truman once, or twice, or maybe 10 times. The most notable time was when he had a romantic connection with Sylvia, a girl from his high school. They only managed to have a quick rendezvous on the beach before someone claiming to be her father showed up and dragged her into the car. He said they're moving to Fiji. Truman never saw her again. He still thinks of her, but life has pulled him in another direction. Truman's wife dismisses his desire to see the world. She and Truman's mother emphasize the importance of home and family and try to redirect Truman's attention to having children of his own, even though the prospect does not interest him at this point in time. Truman's best friend Marlon is equally uninterested in Truman's need for a change, stating that he never found a place like Seahaven when he had to travel for work. He is, however, really good at showing up with a pack of beer during emotionally compromised moments and discouraging Truman from leaving the island because, after all, the routine contentedness of Seahaven is really what's important in life. What lies beyond the water? The older Truman gets, the more this question echoes in the back of his mind. For his father, the water meant early death, and this too could happen to Truman if he ventures beyond his comfort zone. But is it possible to outgrow your comfort zone? At what point does safety become uncomfortable? Truman regularly uses his bathroom mirror to enact fantastical scenarios of nature or space exploration. Enclosed in his bathroom, supposedly the most private room in his house, he draws supporting images on his mirror and performs different characters to an audience of one. In these undisclosed moments, Truman is simultaneously the main character, the artist, and the audience. Unbeknownst to Truman, he is the star of a hit television show which broadcasts his life 24/7, unedited to people around the world. His hometown is a set enclosed in a dome-shaped studio which is big enough to be seen from space. It is only when Truman's undying curiosity leads him to the edge of this dome that the truth is revealed to him. All that is left then is to decide whether to expand his horizons and step into the unknown, or continue a life of guaranteed outcomes under the eyes of millions.
Is he looking at us?
Jesus, do you think he knows?
Hello? 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 Hello?
Let's imagine A half-idle glance, a blank-minded moment where you gaze at another through a passive lensed stare. You notice their actions, both intriguing and charming, and these intimate moments enrapture your mind as you lead yourself on from inactive observer to most engaged viewer. Suppose, in a second, your eyes fall away and distraction sets in, gazing around for more to ingest. You see others now watching and staring at you. This is Truman's audience, with the show airing for almost 30 years. Many of them have grown up or even grown old watching it. Checking in with Truman is part of their daily routine, with some even choosing to sleep at night with the show playing on their television. But who chooses what they watch? Artists? TV executives? Maybe some algorithm? Or is it the audience themselves who chooses? Would you watch the show? And would you stop after realizing you're watching Truman's imprisonment? Or do you continue watching? Maybe even follow the link in the description to get 10% off your Truman merchandise while you're at it. Sylvia, the cast member who tried to tell Truman the truth about his life, believed that it was unjust to keep Truman under the watchful eye of millions and actively worked to protest the show as part of a vocal minority. If we explore this counterpoint of view to the passive consumption of Truman's life, we are confronted with horrors relating not only to privacy but to human rights. Truman was legally adopted by a corporation after being selected from 5 other unwanted pregnancies because he was born closest to the premiere of the show. Since the show was set in California, as a child actor, Truman would have been entitled to money earned under contract based on the Coogan Act. The law also codifies issues surrounding schooling, work hours, and time off. However, since Truman was adopted by the corporation, would the same rules apply? Since the show had been airing 24 hours a day 7 days a week for the entirety of Truman's life, he has effectively had no time off, ever. Can a child consent to their guardians filming, distributing globally and financially profiting from the child's life? And if Truman's legal guardian is a corporation, does he have a right to the company profits? None of this information is hidden from the audience of The Truman Show. In fact, the grandeur of the secret the whole world is keeping from Truman keeps the audience engaged and involved in developing the narrative of Truman's life. If most people are okay with it, then surely it is okay to continue watching, right? Thanks to the scale of this ruse, it is a cathartic experience to all who are watching when Truman finally manages to escape the dome. The audience laughs, cheers, and cries, after years, or even decades of emotional build-up and involvement. But what's next? How will you fill your time when something so routine ends? Maybe there's some reruns on so you could watch it again. It is not as though Truman has died. He's still out there somewhere. Do you track him down? Maybe some paparazzi already have. Or do you completely forget about it? Yes, just forget about capitalist exploitation in the name of dopamine. Maybe even start sharing more of your private life with the world. Here's a recommended video on the top 10 ways to make money on social media.
What else is on?
Yeah, let's do what else.
Where's the TV guy?
Let's imagine you've drawn the world around you, pulled a crowd in close, to stop and stand and stare as you regale them with stories, your words. They build a new world, one step removed from this reality of ours, and you're telling, so compelling, that all who hear, forget your voice and lose the tale for what it is, sleeping soft within a dream. This is Christoph, the man behind the vision of Truman's World and the creator of the corporation that adopted Truman. His job is to make sure everything is running smoothly and that Truman is nowhere near to knowing the truth behind his life. And for almost 30 years, he has been able to grow the industry around Truman's life to be very profitable. Everything in Truman's World is for sale. The actors surrounding Truman casually slip product descriptions into their conversations. Life in Sea Haven Island is designed to appeal to as many audience members as possible, copying the style of 50s American advertisements, which leaves everything looking manicured and conservative. Even sunsets are designed to hold the most aesthetic value, with the moon standing visibly right next to the sun. And when we say that everything in Truman's World is for sale, we mean that everything is for sale. Truman's experiences are guided in a way as to give the audience a fulfilling narrative arc of his life. Flashbacks of Truman's life are edited into the live stream to reintroduce or solidify Truman's storyline for the audience. Key moments are available for purchase in the form of best of tapes, so audiences can relive them whenever and however many times they want. After the actor who played Truman's father breaks back onto the set and Truman sees him to be alive, Christoph decides it is in his best interest to reintroduce this character. This becomes a highly produced televised moment, with Marlon setting the scene by gaslighting Truman into thinking his doubts are ungrounded. Once his father shows up, Christoph directs the meeting by selecting the most engaging camera angles and having musicians orchestrate the moment to produce a heartwarming effect, even though everything other than Truman's reaction is a performance.
It's all true. It's all real. Nothing here is fake. Nothing you see on this show is fake. It's merely controlled.
Christoph assures his audience that Truman's reactions remain the authentic part of the show, but hidden cameras track Truman's every movement and a cast of actors are ready to jump in to realign his course at a moment's notice, thus limiting and curtailing the engagement that Truman can have with the world around him. After all, undetectable behavior modification is what helps to maximize returns on surveillance. And yet, Truman could choose to leave at any time, except by boat of course. He's afraid of water, or by bus, that has broken down, or by car. There is now a major pileup on one specific street. Oh, and beyond the traffic there's also a forest fire and a leak at the nuclear power plant. Do not forget that you have a dentist appointment on Wednesday, and our mortgage payment is now expected on the 1st of every month. Oh, and the gas company called. They want to change our payment plan. While Christoph meticulously controls Truman's present, he is as in the dark regarding Truman's future as his audience. The easiest way to keep audiences engaged is to have Truman have a child of his own. Not only would the first on-air conception help keep ratings up, it would give Truman something else to think about other than traveling. Beyond this, introducing Truman's child as a character opens up new profitable avenues by engaging younger audiences with more relatable content. Truman is going to die at one point. This much is clear in Christoph's mind. Like any good storyteller, he is willing to explore the different ways this may happen to a point where the possibility of Truman dying on air seems completely normal to him. What cannot happen, however, is Truman's life continuing without his all-seeing presence. It is only during extraordinary times that Christoph steps into the spotlight to be interviewed, mostly to reassure the audience and his shareholders that everything is under his control. The interviewer states that Christoph himself jealously guards his privacy and nothing of his personal life is known by his audience. Usually, he stays off camera, his presence only implied by his creative choices which mold Truman's life. What are Christoph's true intentions? Who is he loyal to? Does he see Truman as a son he has to protect from the real world? Is he truly protecting Truman from the world by broadcasting his life? How far is he willing to go to keep the audience's eyes on Truman? What has he promised his shareholders whose profits rely on the unwilling ignorance of one single person? And who is Christoph? Well, suppose Christoph is himself a shadow much like Truman and his audience, crafted meticulously by another Christoph, another corporation, as part of a sci-fi parable with widespread critical acclaim and commercial success. Suppose you hear a simple story that gently guides you to the confines of your mind, where boundaries blur and limits shrink. At the border of yourself a door appears, and the world, it falls apart. Our systems indicate the construction of this presentation is a completion, so...
In case I don't see ya. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
This program thanks you for your sustained attention. Like, comment, and subscribe to...
Cut transmission!
Cut transmission?
Cut it! Jesus, God, heaven!
What the hell? Oh my god,
Give me the phone.
black.
Give me
I
my
got
phone.
it.